because we create the some sort of special economic zone, so investors going to non-resource sector is also growing. Those are the major investors entering in Laos. But now, I think China and Vietnam is exceeding Thailand in recent years. This is the old data. The second topic is about the development plan and the role of it. In terms of the long-term vision for the country up to 2030, the government would like to make the country to become upper middle income country. Now it's a little bit close to middle income country, as some sort of upper lower income country. So in around 15 years time, so we like to become upper middle income country. So this is a big challenge for development stakeholders in Laos, particularly Lao government. Also, 2020, we would like to graduate from least developed country of the United Nations list. And also, this is also another challenge. Now we are still asking whether this some sort of medium-term strategy will be achieved or not. So, in terms of we try to achieve this strategy and vision by making a 5-year plan. So, from early 1980s, we have 5-year plan. So now we are on the 7th plan, and next year will be the final year for the 7th plan. And now many people in Laos are very busy preparing for next plan. And particularly from early 1990s, before that, Laos was very a little bit closed, partially closed economy, but particularly from the collapse of the former Soviet Union, and the country liberated, and foreign aid has become quite important for the socio-economic development in Laos. Although in recent years has declined in terms of amount. So this is also, the declining is also, maybe we can take as a sign of success of development. And also, on the other hand, it's also decline of the amount of the money that the world community is committed to for the grant agencies. Those grant has been very important for Laos. As you can see, I show this as the government budget deficit, because this deficit has been largely closed by grant aid and also borrowings from international borrowings. This structure, so just a rough idea, few years, as I said, it has declining in terms of the amount itself, and particularly the multilateral money has declined a lot. So more country-to-country basis cooperation has been stronger, playing stronger role in development in Laos. So it doesn't mean that we are decrypting UNDP and other all these stakeholders. It's very important. Now, GDPs has been helping the government a lot in helping to shape some sort of the effectiveness and also the more transparency and accountability in Laos. Some more figures in the structure, just to see the actual commitments of these actual amount that was spent in Laos. And so now we move to the main topic of today's talk is about the age correlation. So up to 2004, age correlation was not so carried out very actively. So basically, the main correlation was just go through roundtable meetings, roundtable process. We have roundtable meetings every second year and roundtable implementation meeting every year. So this we just participate in those process, in that process. But from 2005, after Paris Declaration, more government has been more active in terms of planning and also trying to make it more effective in the development, for the development. And that year, the government had created some sort of working sector working groups. There were 8 sectors for that year. And 2006 we had a major declaration, so we had meeting with development partners, and we now admitted with different partners towards transparency and also effectiveness following the Paris Declaration, and also we developed Vientiane Declaration Country Action Plan. So we try to work according to this mechanism from 2007. And we are observing the changes in the international community, global community in terms of deforestation. So we're following agenda for action, Busan Declaration, and also particularly from 2012, this equalization mechanism has been more active. So we improved from 8 sectors to become 10 sector working groups. Now I receive the information on education sector working group almost every week. They have the meetings and also the information coming from the meetings. They have meetings almost every week. So this is 8 for 10 working 10 sector working groups has been quite active now. And so I started to put together the mechanism in Laos. So we have international framework, and also we have domestic framework, and we have coordination body, and also we rely on some coordination tools for ensuring that we are following the guidelines from the international coordination framework. So for the coordination mechanism in Laos, as I said, we rely on Vientiane Declaration and Vientiane Action Plan work. So we emphasize on 5 principles. So these principles, most of them already presented by Ms. Bauer or from UNDP. So, for example, we have country ownership for policy and plan development, communication, and aid coordination, and alignment of the relevant partners' support on national policies and plans, and harmonization of and simplification of the relevant partners' procedures and activities. So this part, I'm not quite sure whether simplification has been done yet. There is a lot of work, a lot of interaction between our stakeholders in Laos and developing partners. And managing for results is also another principle. And also another principle is that if something fails in the coordination, so we are trying to say that it's not, we have to ask accountability for both the government and development partners. This is some sort of principles. That's why now interaction between development partners and our government sector has been very active. And as I said from the beginning, now, for example, Ministry of Education and Sports, my ministry, is very having difficulty finding appropriate person to take care of these coordinations. So that's also another challenge for us. In terms of coalition body, the top organ of in our government is Department of International Cooperation and the Ministry of Planning and Investment, and 9 ministries for 10 sub-working sector working groups. So those are the sectors that regularly organize sector working groups meetings. And coordination tools, we are sector working group meetings, and also we have weekend declaration, country action plan review meeting every year, and also roundtable meetings. And also we have aid management platform. So this also shared by Ministry of Planning and Investment. So the aid management platform, basically we try to see to meet these objectives, particularly data management and reporting capability, and improving coordination between government and development partners, and enhancing ability for ODA management in context of public management of error and roundtable progress, and also realizing the principles under the declaration. The objective of the platform works in that way. The operation, as I said, the Department of International Cooperation was the chair, and we try to collect data from focal agents in Laos, and also from different parties every 3 months. And also now, particularly from late last year, the more public portal has been open. So now people can report the activity directly by putting the data on the website. this system report directly to Ministry of Planning and Investment. So, yeah, just basic information about implementation in Laos. So, in summary, I'd like to say that now in the economy as a whole has been on constant growth. Foreign aid is great and grow, although in now declining in amount. And our government has been working hard to trying to observe the international framework for implementation, and we have developed the domestic mechanism for and also coordination body and tools in order to support this work. This basic information about the implementation in Laos. Okay. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bullon, for your very informative presentation. Yeah. I will go next to Myanmar. Yeah. So if you have, any of you have questions to Laos, just keep it for a while. After all presentation, then we will have the Q&A. Yes, Professor Khan.
So first of all, I would like to thanks to Professor Surapong that give me the great opportunities to work in that place. Before that, in my country experience, before that, I'm a professor and the head of department of the Applied Economic Department. But our the experiences is when we send the scholars to the overseas meeting. One thing is they make it with a nominate, not with continuations. So all the things, first, I worked in that the ISUAS in the Singapore, and also in the Cambodia in Mekong, and also then step in the Bangladesh, and also in the Philippines. But all these, the works are just for the one times and for the whole histories, that next time, because, when I finished the one, the study and I attend the meeting and I take it all the materials and for the progress, then I submit to the government. And next time, they send another persons to the others. And other persons, they don't ask me for the information, and that's quiet, and they went to the place, and everybody have an experience in that overseas experience. But what I mean is we have an experience in jack of all trade and master of none, so no continuations. So now I have this chance for the continuations. By the grace of the Surapong, I'm thinking and I'm studying, continuously to my case study experience, and thanks for this one. And another one is, the one thing is, especially for the kid, in the case of the 8 poor nations in Myanmar, is not because of the main problem is not because of the finance, because of the understanding. So we have a lack of understanding, and we are, especially when we talk about in the case of the 8 core nations, we have so many separate areas and regions. I will tell you, and this the experience in the first one started, what is Myanmar, also they have 8 program by themselves. But one thing is, when we talk about on that disaster, there's two disasters. One is a natural disaster, one is a man-made disasters. So I think it's a natural disaster is, maybe a one or two, but continuously we are facing the suffering under the man-made disasters, because of the weak of the policy and failure in the policy implementations. And also, then our social economic problems, becomes more and more than the social, unusual situation that we we have so many, that the social economic problems, especially in that, last 2 days ago, government announced that our population data from the regions, from the census data. They announced that our population is only the 51 millions. Before that, we have a 61 millions. So where are the missing of the 10 million? It's nearly about the last, the whole population, So that is the problem, because of this 51 millions. Some people are happy about for this 51 million. Now our per capita GDP will raise because of the less population. It's terrible, So I'm fed up of all these, that the situation on the data. So I don't believe on the data, and I'm saying is believing, I'm present only about for the what is happening in the especially throughout the cooperation in our countries. Another one is, for the also the government is, is lead to the development process. But one thing is, the development processes, we have a two track. One is on the policy track, and another one is from the implementation track. But the policy and implementation are not the same way. So that is a one problem. And also, the government is, is trying with the wave. The first wave is the poverty alleviations, and the second wave is the clean governance and the good governance. And we are not finished yet for that the two wave, the poverty alleviations and the clean government. Now it is the change to the third wave. But when I talk about the third wave, what is the meant for the third wave? They can't answer for that. Yes, third wave is the third wave. So I don't know how they implement for the futures in the third wave. But the poverty alleviation is not finished yet. I think we are still, weighing in the problem and especially in the SME area. And also, I don't want to talk on the clean government and, so I'll leave it this one. Another one is, that related to that the administrations and the donor. There is a problem between the triangle between the donor and the government administrations and implementers who are working in our countries. That is three. Also they have a own experience in the roles. So first thing is especially in that the private sectors, rather than when we talk about the government sector. When we work on that its cooperations, I think private sector is much more effective and efficient than the work with the government sectors. Because when we talk about the government sectors, the government sector has so many red tape and so many the procedures, and sometimes that is in 2005 we have experience with the nuggets. Naga to secure about the 1 million people in the Naga cyclones. You know, why, you know, because of that, you know, the cooperation with the donors and governments and, you know, private, you know, implementers. So, that is the private, you know, organizations are more, you know, energetic and, you know, more performative than the government, and they work done much more than the government. But even the, you know, the donor have, you know, offer so many things to rescue or to make a help to the disaster area. But government has, you know, thinking about, and we have to wait for the order. But in our local, you know, the private peoples, they work hard for that in the disasters. So that when we talk of on the aid coordination, especially to my country, I think this is better to contact with the work with the private rather than the public sectors. You know, another one is, you know, we have a roadmap, and we have the regional integrations with the ASEANs and ASEAN plus 3s. But most of these integration programs and the roadmaps are, you know, based on the government administrations. But we need to move these, you know, activities and functionings to more bias and more reliance on the private sectors, because the private sectors is work more hard and more efficient than the, you know, private, you know, institutions. Another one is, you know, the objective of the studies. When we talk about one of the objective of the studies, you know, there is a, you know, from the side of the donor, they have a target and they have a purposes and they have a aims and objective. Also, you know, in the receiver side, from our country side, is we need to work, you know, cohesive with the, you know, the government bodies and when I refer to the public sector and private sector. We need to more coordinate between the private and private sector in the countries, and then we bridge with the, you know, overseas donor. I think this is a good process for our aid coordinations, you know, process. So another one is, you know, we have a 4 objective for the when we related to the aid coordination. The first objective is, you know, especially to the transaction cost. Both are transaction costs in the public and sector, but, you know, the public sector is much more than the private sectors. Sometimes, you know, from especially that, you know, I don't want to talk on in our some cases from the NGO and INGO. Some of the persons are, you know, absentee managers. Absentee managers mean, they, you know, they appointed the persons and that NGO and GO by the, you know, the agreement with the governments. But these persons they are all the time absent in the office. But some in cases, because, you know, the monthly salaries are, you know, we have to pay to the homes. They don't come to take, they don't want to come to the, you know, office and take it. So all these are the, you know, the unnecessary, you know, the transaction costs. Also in the private sectors. So private sector is, you know, why our transaction cost is too much in our, you know, the coordination is one is, you know, first we have lack of the feasibility studies. We have no feasibility study. And second one is, you know, we have failures in the feedback. So we need the effective management, and also, another one is the economy of scale, especially to the internal economy of scale. So we need the more, technologies, and we need the more, knowledge about for the, in coordinations. And, the second objective is, the area that using for the debates. One thing, that when we choose the area, these areas are, is determined by the, not by the people from that area, from by the, authorized persons. So sometimes, even most of the donors, when they want to donate in that specific area, but we have, all the donors have to align with the government, or we have to, listen, and we have to look to the which place and which amount and what activities and what assistance, all, with the red tapes to the donations. That's the one problem, And third one is, there's a budget, The using budget is, sometimes, it's very difficult for that, we are lacking in the budget analysis and, budget implementation. Also the implementing the budget analysis is failures in our country. So we need more, assistance about the understanding about the knowledge for that, how to use the tool efficient and effective. And the next one is the, that is one is also I've told that the government implement the sector policy. When we talk about that, the donor implementations, and donors and partners are, we know that they are accountable for the development result. But in the implementation status, everybody wants to do as for the responsibilities. Everybody wants to take the responsibility, but they don't want to take the accountability for the donors using. That is the one problem. And the objective is, fourth objective is, the program of the technical assistance and technical know-how and how to use, and we need more monitoring and evaluation systems. We need to evaluate and how to feedback, and before the using of the donor, and also we need the feasibility studies. And the one thing is, data and information. So data and information are very, important, and that in this society for the eight coordination programs. So the first thing is we need to trust, and we need to understand, and then we have to work with the donor timetable, with the with the government calendar for the development planning. But one thing is, even from the donor side is very efficient and very effective to stand by for everything. But we don't have a rally and that sometimes is a lack of the government calendars, and also, the problem between the INGO and NGO, the relationship. So regarding to these objectives, then we need the principles that each coordinations. But on the paper, we have a sound principle for each coordinations for how to ensure for the effectiveness and how to make the sustainable development, But one thing is, we need the process of the development for that, using the aids. Another one is, we have to define, the partnership, and we have to define the stakeholders to ensure the project of the implementations. And then another one is the most important thing is finance. The financing and how to use the financing is most important in my countries. Sometimes the it should finance to develop the priority, identified by the stakeholders and with the development policy. But the areas, the events and objective and process are more important than the development policy, because development policy is how to use the process. But one thing is we have to identify others, and on the other hand, we have to classify the events and the process, and also it's very important is we need the commitment to educate. We have a no commitment. What I mean is we have no accountability.